I know. 2020 is not a year that many of us want to look back on, but I promise this video will be 95% positive. That's a guarantee. Hello and welcome, my name is Austin and this channel is all about digging deeper and going further to better understand faith and film and everything that's in between. If that sounds exciting to you, make sure you click that subscribe button down below so you don't miss out on any new content that comes to the channel. So I wanted to put up this video as a bit of like a retrospective, looking back on the year, both on the perspective of me personally and kind of my goals that I set for the year, as well as just achievements amongst my videos and what went up on my channel, that kind of thing. So it's just going to kind of be an all-encompassing retrospective looking at the past year for me. First and foremost, let's look back on my 2020 most anticipated films list, which not too far into 2020 became almost completely non-existent. Movies on my list included A Quiet Place 2, The Furious 9, Top Gun Maverick, Godzilla vs. Kong, The Eternals, Dune, and Ghostbusters Afterlife. 7 out of the 10 movies on my top anticipated movies of this year were bumped to 2021. So that pretty much ruined most of my expectations when it came to new movies coming out in 2020. One movie that still came out that was on my top 10 list was Mulan, which ended up being much more of a divisive movie than I expected it to be. I personally really enjoyed it, but a lot of people didn't. Some people did, some didn't. I fell somewhere in the middle, leaning a little bit more towards on the positive side, but I thought that was interesting that this Disney movie that actually tried to do something different was much more divisive than I had initially expected. Also, on an extremely high note, we finally got The New Mutants. After years of delays, reshoots, and all this stuff, we got New Mutants. It did okay, it kind of flopped, but I enjoyed it. I thought it was cool, definitely worth the wait, but that's about the 5% of the 95% that I said of this video that would be negative. So now that the negative's out of the way, let's continue on with the positive. Next, I want to focus on some unexpected movies that came out that weren't necessarily on my radar, but I ended up thoroughly enjoying, if not loving. The 3 that come to mind first would be The Invisible Man, which for a long time sat on my top movies of the year list for this year, which isn't saying too much considering the year of movies we had, but hey, that's still an achievement in my opinion. Next was the Palm Springs movie, which is a comedy that ended up going directly over to Hulu, but I thoroughly enjoyed and absolutely love that movie. It's definitely going to rank somewhere in my top 10 for the year. And then another movie that just recently went over to Hulu is the movie Run, which is Anish Chaganty, which I think his name is pronounced, and he's the guy who made Searching a couple of years ago, which I loved. That's a really unique, really awesome mystery thriller movie. You should check that one out if you have not. But Run was another great one. I'm really excited to continue to see what this director does. So if you've not seen either Searching, Run, or Palm Springs for that matter, all of those are on streaming right now. And then of course Invisible Man was one of my favorite movies of the year also. Now let's talk about my Blu-ray collection and the goals that I had. At the beginning of January, I actually picked out a number of DVDs that I had, 18 to be exact, that I wanted to upgrade from DVD to Blu-ray in this year. So of those 18 movies, 14 of them have successfully been upgraded to Blu-ray. There's a few that I wasn't necessarily planning to upgrade that I did as well. So in the end, I was able to upgrade almost everything I wanted to this year. There's 2 or 3 that I have left, I think, that still need to be upgraded, but I'm super happy to have achieved that goal, at least for myself personally. That ended up being a really good goal for the year because we really didn't get any new movies, so I wasn't buying new movies throughout the year and was able to reallocate those funds to be able to upgrade DVDs to Blu-rays for my collection. Now, speaking of my collection, let's talk about some of the most exciting additions to my collection from this past year. First, very recently, just in the past month or so, I upgraded my setup to 4K. So I now have a 4K TV and a 4K player solely for something you will see in just a few minutes. So one of the most exciting pickups I had for my collection this year was the Quiet Place 4K Steelbook. That's really hard to show without it glaring, but this is one I already had the regular Steelbook for, but now that I had the 4K technology, I was able to justify getting this one as well. I did get it for a really good Black Friday price, of like $12, so it wasn't like I had to spend an arm and a leg on it. And now I have both steelbooks for one of my favorite movies. My favorite movie to come out of the year it was released. Beyond that, I found out the existence of and picked up for my collection the Alien Collector's box sets. Now this is for the original Alien movie. There we go, focused in on there. This is the 35th anniversary Blu-ray release. It comes with a copy of the movie on Blu-ray, a comic book kind of version of the movie, which is really cool, as well as some concept art on like postcards, that kind of thing too. And then also the 30th anniversary of Aliens. I like this one just a little bit better because it's actually a hard shell. The other one's kind of like a thicker cardboard, but still not super high quality. So this one my brother found for me. I had him pick it up and I paid him back for it. So similarly to the other set, comes with a copy of the Blu-ray as well as a comic of sorts and then some concept art as well in there. So super excited to have both of these in the collection there. This is one of my favorite franchises, so I now have a bit of an Alien display that I'll kind of put up on screen here for you so you can see it, but that's really cool. I'm super excited to have both of these as well. And I am planning on doing a complete Blu-ray collection coming up in just a few weeks, probably sometime in January. So look to that coming soon. You'll see all this stuff again, as well as everything that I got over here next to me. So second biggest pickup, in my opinion, of the year is the Hobbit Extended Edition Blu-ray box set. I've had for a number of years the Lord of the Rings Extended Edition Blu-ray and have always wanted to get the Hobbit one too. I actually have not seen the extended version of the Hobbit movies. I've heard it does clear up a lot of things and it's a superior version and the vision of Peter Jackson when he made these movies. So very excited to have both of the hard shells of the extended versions of these trilogies on Blu-ray. Obviously, I'm a huge Lord of the Rings Middle-earth fan. And of course, in the year 2020, you would say, why do you have those, Austin, but not the 4K Lord of the Rings trilogy that just came out? Well, I do. The number one thing that I definitely picked up this year, I just got this for Christmas from a number of family members that kind of combined for it, and I'm super excited. The Lord of the Rings 4K trilogy. I've watched The Fellowship of the Ring so far as of making this video and plan to watch The Two Towers and The Return of the King in the coming weeks and months. I've loved it so far. I could not believe that it could look even better than it already did on the Blu-ray extended versions. So can't wait to check these out further. Super pumped to have this in my collection. Now before I talk about the achievements of my channel so far this year, which is pretty much wrapped up by this point, but I want to share quickly about the movies that I've been watching. Obviously with the lack of new movies being released this year, it was an opportunity for me to kind of look back on movies that I've missed over the years when it comes to some classics or just big ones or ones I just wanted to revisit for just not having seen them for a long time. So this year, with all of the kind of negative things that came out of it, one positive thing for me was I kind of got to look back on a catalog of movies that I've been looking to either check out for the first time or revisit for the first time in a while. So I use Letterboxd to track my movie viewing and write kind of quick reviews for them, some lists, that kind of thing. And in 2019, I watched 120 movies, which I thought was quite a lot of movies. And then this year so far to date, it is the mid-December right now. So I'm really hoping to surpass the number I'm about to give you and kind of reach a goal. But I have watched 185 movies this year. Obviously, lots more free time, especially earlier this year when we were all pretty much on quarantine lockdown. So I was watching a ton of movies. So I have reached, as I said, 185 movies watched this year. I'm hoping I can get to 200 by the end of the year. I need to watch 15 movies in the next few weeks, so hopefully that can happen. That's another personal goal of mine, is maybe to pass that 200 before the year is out. Now my question for you in this video is, have you been keeping track? Do you know how many movies you watched this year? If so, what have you been kind of going back and watching in the absence of newly released movies? Tell me in the comments down below either how many movies you've watched this year, if you know, or what you've been going back and watching and taking advantage of seeing with the absence of new content. As far as achievements for the channel, this has been quite a year of growth for me, which has been really cool. Around last year, I was still sitting around about 100 subscribers or so, and this year I've neared nearly 300 subscribers. So I'm really hoping I can hit 500 subscribers probably by the end of next year. I would love for it to be even higher than that. So if for some reason you're checking this video out and this is the first video you've seen on the channel, please click that subscribe button down below if you're enjoying it. I would love to have you join the community. And with that said, probably my three biggest achievements of the year were completing the first movie in the Lord of the Rings trilogy, being The Fellowship of the Ring. We finished that part of the series. That's something I've been working on since pretty new into my channel, and so that felt really good to get that at least chunk of the series wrapped up. So we're continuing in the Two Towers now, and then we'll conclude with The Return of the King. I'll probably try to finish up the trilogy definitely sometime next year. I think we'll try and wrap everything up so that we can have a complete series going through the whole Lord of the Rings trilogy. But that was a really cool step on that journey to be able to say I've finished going through the entire Fellowship of the Ring and moved into the Two Towers this year. Also, if you've been following the channel since this summer, I did a I don't know why I was going to try and hold it up on my hands. I did a 31-day film challenge. So what I did with that is I posted one video every day for 31 days answering random questions and stuff that I came up with and found online about picking some of my favorite movies, favorite characters, actors, pretty much anything to do with movies. It was some form of almost trivia for me to be able to answer and give you my picks on. So that was really fun, a really cool challenge. We had some good growth as well during that time. It was a really cool challenge to me personally, just to be able to say, and an achievement I guess you could say, to say I did 31 videos in 31 days. It was a lot of work. It kept me very busy, but I enjoyed it, and it's really cool to look back on now. Last big achievement for this year is the most viewed video that I published. The most viewed video is actually my Blu-ray buying guide for Black Friday this year. It passed over 1,000 views, which is totally awesome. That's the most views I've gotten on a video so far this year. I had a lot of videos that hit round about 500 or so views, which was really exciting, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what other videos are going to take off as much as that one. I tried to be kind of as helpful as possible in my Black Friday buying guide video, so it was really cool to see that pay off and for it to get lots of views and get lots of compliments of people telling me how helpful it was. So that's something I'm definitely going to continue next year. Next year is obviously going to be better when it comes to Black Friday, hopefully. So look to another buying guide coming around next year for Black Friday. So that wraps up my retrospective look back at the year of 2020. As I mentioned at the beginning of this video, I tried to make it as positive as possible, focusing on achievements, exciting collection updates, that kind of thing. So I hope you enjoyed it. It's fun to just kind of sit here and talk about things that have been going on the channel. I hope that it was as fun for you as it was for me. So again, we got a lot of content coming out before the year wraps up, and then a bunch of really exciting stuff as the year starts off when it comes to top 10 lists and collection updates, that kind of thing. So look to those coming soon. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss out on any content. I'll see you in the next video.